Uh, here another characteristic property is formation of colored ions. Formation of colored ions in solid state or in solutions. Here they form colored ions. Okay, so they form colored ions due to DD transitions. What is the meaning of DD transition? See, actually there are 5 d orbitals in these elements. Out of 5 d orbitals, they will break down. These 5 d orbitals will break down into two sets of orbitals. So one set of orbitals will have more energy and another set of orbitals, d orbitals, will have less energy. See, in this case, what happens? The electrons from lower energy orbitals will jump to higher energy orbitals, or else the electrons which are present in higher energy orbitals, they will jump to lower energy orbitals, like this. So that means from lower energy to higher energy orbitals, or else from higher energy to lower energy orbitals, the electrons will keep on moving, they keep on jumping, they will excite, okay, or else they will be promoted. So during this process, what happens? Some amount of energy is either released or else absorbed. Okay, so the energy is released or absorbed in the form of colors due to the change in energy. So what happens? So either energy is released or else energy is absorbed. So here this process will take place by the liberation of some radiations which are colored radiations. Okay, so that is why their ions are they form colored ions. They form colored ions. For example, Fe plus 2, iron plus 2, it is green colored. The color of this one is green. Cu plus 2, its color is blue color. Mn plus 2, it is a pink color, light pink color. Light pink color. Okay, so like this. So Mn plus 3, Mn plus 3 is violet color. It forms violet color. Violet color. So like this. Chromium also, Cr plus 3 also, it is violet color. So vanadium, V plus 3 also, again it is also green color. So like this, different substances will have cobalt, pink color, Co plus T plus 2, pink color. So like this, different ions will have different colors due to DD transitions. So that means electrons from one set of d orbitals will jump to the other set of d orbitals, or else from other set of d orbitals to this set of d orbitals. So electrons will keep on keep on moving. That means transition of electrons will take place. During this process, some energy is released in the form of color. Hence these ions will have different colors. Okay, formation of colored ions is one of the characteristic property of transitional elements. Okay, right. So such a property is not found in other cases. In other elements, such property is not found. Okay. Even in inner transitional elements also, you will find some ions are colored, and some colored ions are formed. So here, this is the most important characteristics of transition element. What is that one? Formation of colored ions. Next, they form metal complexes. Metal complexes. Example, K4 Fe Cn taken 6 times. So this is a complex compound. See, this iron is a transitional element. It is forming a complex compound. So if you break down this one, it will break down into Fe Cn taken 6 times. Okay, minus 4. So complex ion is formed. Already we have seen. Okay. See here. So these complex compounds, when broken down, they form complex ions. So that means this metal will form complex with other atoms. So hence these elements are said to be forming metal complexes. Okay. Next one, they are paramagnetic. These elements are paramagnetic. What is the meaning of paramagnetic? Paramagnetic means they are weakly attracted. They are weakly attracted by the magnets. By the magnets. They are weakly attracted by the magnets. So such elements are weakly attracted by the magnets. All the elements, all the d block elements, particularly all the transition elements, so they are weakly attracted by the magnets. Why they are weakly attracted by the magnets? This is again due to the presence of unpaired d electrons. Due to the presence of unpaired d electrons, so they are weakly attracted by the magnets. So whenever unpaired d electrons are present, so then they are attracted by the magnet. So for example, iron. So if you see iron, it is having its configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, 3d6. So in d orbitals, 3d6 means 1, 2, 3, 5 d orbitals are there. So 6 electrons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 electrons. So how many unpaired electrons are there? 4 unpaired electrons are there. So due to the presence of 4 unpaired electrons, this iron is attracted by the magnet. Okay. So here this iron is showing paramagnetic nature, or else it is showing magnetic nature because of the presence of unpaired electrons. If more number of unpaired electrons are there, they are strongly attracted by the magnet. If less number of unpaired electrons are there, they are weakly attracted by the magnet. So like this. So paramagnetic means weakly attracted by the magnet. So this iron, particularly some elements like iron, cobalt, nickel, they are strongly attracted by the magnet. So they are said to be ferromagnetic. Okay. Even these are also transitional elements, but majority of transitional elements are paramagnetic in nature. So but iron, cobalt and nickel, they are ferromagnetic. Okay. Paramagnetic or ferromagnetic is due to what? Due to our presence of unpaired electrons. So unpaired electrons. So these are said to be ferromagnetic. Ferromagnetic means strongly attracted by the magnet. Paramagnetic means weakly attracted by the magnet. Weakly attracted by the magnets. So here, so even paramagnetic or diamagnetic nature is due to the presence of unpaired electrons. If more number of unpaired electrons are there, then they are strongly attracted by the magnet. If less number of unpaired electrons are there, they are weakly attracted by the magnet. So paramagnetic nature or paramagnetism is one of the characteristic feature of transitional elements. Okay. Next characteristic feature is they show catalytic activity. Transition elements show catalytic activity. That means they act as catalysts. They can be used as catalyst. Okay, catalyst to make the reaction undergo fastly. So what is the duty of catalyst? Catalyst always try to make the reaction to undergo fastly. So here transitional elements are, most of the transitional elements, they have catalytic activity. That means they can be used as a catalyst. For example, nickel is a catalyst. Nickel is a catalyst in the preparation, in the hydrogenation of oils. So catalyst reaction, chemical reaction or process. chemical reaction or process. So here nickel is used in the hydrogenation of oils, in the process of hydrogenation of oils, hydrogenation of oils, in the process of hydrogenation of oils. So nickel is used as a catalyst. Okay, iron is used in the as a catalyst in preparation of ammonia, Haber's process. Haber's process, in the preparation of ammonia by Haber's process. So what is hydrogenation of oils? Hydrogenation of oils means conversion of oil into ghee or else dalda. Dalda means a solid substance. Oils are liquids. The liquid oils are converted into solid substances by the process of hydrogenation of oils. Hydrogenation of oils. So in that process, so in that chemical reactions, so nickel is used as a catalyst. In the Haber's process, what is Haber's process? Haber's process is used to for the manufacturing of ammonia. Manufacturing of ammonia. What is the formula of ammonia? NH3. So in the manufacturing of ammonia by Haber's process, iron is used as a catalyst. Okay, in the same way, so in the same reaction, molybdenum, MO, molybdenum is used as promoter. It is used as promoter. It is used as promoter in the same Haber's process. So etc. So like this, I mean almost all transition elements, they have catalytic activity. Hence these elements are used as a catalyst. These elements are used as a catalyst in several chemical reactions. Okay, so catalytic activity is one of the characteristic features of these transitional elements. Okay, next seventh point is they possess high melting and boiling points. They possess high melting point and boiling points. Okay, they possess high melting points and boiling points, and even high densities also. They are very denser. They are very denser metals. All transition elements are metals only. Okay, next, they are good conductors of heat and electricity. All transition elements are good conductors. Good conductors of heat and electricity. Okay, so like this. Next, they form alloys. What are alloys? Alloy is a mixture. It's a homogeneous mixture. Homogeneous mixture of metal and metals, or metal and non-metals, or like this. So the combination of metal and with some other metals, or else the combination of metal with some other non-metals. So here what happened? They form a mixture. So that mixture is said to be alloy. For example, if you take iron, steel is an alloy. If you take steel, an alloy, see actually how steel is prepared. Steel is an alloy. In the preparation of steel, so iron metal and carbon non-metal. So these two are mixed. See, initially what happened? See, iron is melted. Molten iron is taken, and into that molten iron, suppose this is what? This is molten iron. That is the melted form of iron. So into this molten iron, carbon powder is added. So carbon powder is added into that melted iron. So carbon powder is added into that melted iron and it is stirred well. So it is stirred well so that the iron and carbon, they are mixed homogeneously, uniformly. They are mixed up throughout the solution, throughout this mixture. They mix up uniformly. Now this mixture is allowed to cool. It is when it is allowed to cool, so that liquid will convert into solid form, and that solid substance is said to be steel. Okay, steel is made up of iron and carbon. Okay, so if you this steel is used for the construction of bridges, houses, big buildings, and even small buildings also, or else even houses also. So this steel is used. So we cannot use iron for the construction of bridges or else houses, because iron is a soft metal. It can be broken easily. So only by using iron only we cannot construct bridges, because they will collapse easily, because iron is a soft metal. It can be broken easily. So when to this iron, when carbon is mixed, what happens? So now this mixture will get strength. This carbon will add strength to the iron, and the mixture is said to be steel. Steel is an alloy. Alloy is nothing but what? Homogeneous mixture of metal and metal, or metal and non-metal. Okay, so here it is a metal and non-metal, so it is an alloy. So like this. Another example, take brass. Brass is a mixture of copper and zinc. Okay, brass is a mixture of copper and zinc. For example, so here this is made up of brass. Ittadi. Generally we will call it as ittadi. Okay, so this is an example for brass. Okay, so how brass is made? How brass is an alloy. Brass is an alloy. It's an alloy of copper and zinc. How this brass is made? See, copper is melted, zinc is also melted. So the molten copper and molten zinc, these two are mixed. So now the molten copper and molten zinc. So now this is a mixture of both molten copper and molten zinc. Now when this mixture is allowed to cool, or else when this mixture is solidified, what happens? It forms brass. That mixture it is made uniformly. So copper and zinc are mixed uniformly. So throughout the solution, throughout this liquid or throughout this solution, so they are distributed uniformly, copper and zinc. So copper metal is distributed uniformly with the zinc metal, so that after solidification that mixture will form brass. So brass is an alloy. Alloy, what is alloy? Alloy is a homogeneous mixture of a metal and metal. So these two are metals, or metal and non-metal. So this is metal and this is non-metal. So like this, this copper, zinc, these are all iron. All these are transitional elements only. So copper is a transitional element. Iron is a transitional element. So zinc is not a transitional element, okay. But copper is transitional element. So even bronze. What is bronze? Steel is an alloy. Steel is an alloy. Bronze. Bronze medal, brass medal, gold medals. So generally we will get. So bronze medal. Bronze, it is made up of copper and tin. So copper metal is melted, tin metal is melted, and these two molten solutions are mixed uniformly. And when that solution is solidified, then that solidified mixture is said to be bronze. Bronze is also an alloy. It's an alloy. It's an alloy of what? Copper and tin. Sn. Copper and tin. So like this. So alloys are prepared from the transitional elements. They form alloys. So all these properties, all these characteristic properties of These transitional elements is due to the reasons like small size, more positive nature. Okay, their nucleus have see the characteristic features. The characteristic features characteristic features shown by transition elements. So all the, so far we have discussed so many characteristic features. So all the characteristic features of these transition elements is due to small size of their atoms, and due to higher nuclear charge, due to high nuclear charge, okay, of their atoms, and also due to the presence of unpaired electrons, okay, due to the presence of unpaired electrons, okay, unpaired electrons, so etc. So these are some of the some of the reasons for the characteristic features. So another reason is due to available vacant d orbitals. So this is also another reason. So like this, due to several reasons, so these transition elements, they show some specific properties. Characteristic for properties means some specific properties. So by these properties we can easily identify that those elements are transition elements. What is the meaning of characteristic features? The features or else the properties, by looking into those properties we can estimate that those elements belong to transitional elements. Okay, such properties are said to be characteristic properties or characteristic features. So this is about transitional elements. Next, about inner transitional elements. Inner transitional elements. What are inner transitional elements? So the elements in which last three orbits are incompletely filled. When the last three orbits are incompletely filled, then those elements are called as transitional elements. Okay, so last three orbits means which orbits? Last three orbits are called as, one is ultimate shell means outermost shell. Penultimate shell means that means last but one. So here it is n, here if it is n outermost orbit, then last but one means n minus 1. Okay, and anti-penultimate shell, that means last but 2. Suppose this is the nucleus of the atom, so these are several orbits. Okay, suppose this is the nth shell or else outermost orbit, then this will become the n minus 1 or else penultimate shell, and this will become the n minus 2 shell or else n minus 2 orbit. So last orbit, last but 1, last but 2. Okay, ultimate shell, penultimate shell, anti-penultimate shell, or else nth shell, n minus 1 shell, n minus 2 shell. So that like this. So last three orbits are incompletely filled and all the inner shells are completely filled. So last three shells are incompletely filled. So those elements in which last three orbits are incompletely filled, those elements are said to be inner transitional elements. Right. Next, Next, all, okay, all F block elements, all F block elements, all F block elements are transitional elements. All F block elements are transitional elements. Okay, so in these elements, okay, in these elements, the general electronic configuration is n minus 2 F1 to 14 n minus 1 D 0 or 1 n minus 2 n minus 1 D 0 or 1, okay, NS2. So this is the general electronic configuration of these elements. Okay, right. See here, since the last two shells have similar configuration, see here, last two orbits in all the elements have nearly same number of electrons, nearly same number of electrons. Last two orbits in all the elements have nearly same number of electrons, or else same number of electrons. So last two orbits in all these elements have same number of electrons. Hence all these elements will show similar properties. All the inner transitional elements, they show similar properties. Because of their similar properties, we cannot separate one inner transitional element from another inner transitional element. For example, we cannot separate uranium from polonium easily. Uranium from thorium. So thorium is one inner transition element, uranium is another inner transition element. So in both these elements, the last two orbits will have same number of electrons. So here the last orbit of uranium, how many electrons are present in the last orbit of uranium? The same number of electrons are present in the last orbit of thorium also. How many electrons are present in last but one orbit of uranium? The same number of electrons are present in the last but one orbit of thorium also. So that means in last orbit and in last but one orbit. That means in ultimate shell and in penultimate shell. So of uranium, the same how many number of electrons are present? The same number of electrons are present in the ultimate shell and penultimate shell of thorium also. So that is why the inner transition elements, they show similar chemical properties. Okay, similar chemical as well as physical properties. So next one is these elements show common oxidation state of +3. So they show common oxidation state. They show common oxidation state of +3. That means, for example, U +3, thorium +3, okay, einsteinium +3, okay, like this. So californium +3, okay, neptunium +3, plutonium +3. So like this. So that means all these elements, they form +3 only. Gadolinium +3, Okay, promethium plus 3. Okay, terbium plus 3. Okay, so like this, erbium plus 3, dysprosium plus 3. So like this. So all these elements, inner transition elements, they show common oxidation state of plus 3. So plus 3 is present. So how many inner transition elements are there? There are altogether 28 inner transitional elements are there. So how many? 28 inner transitional elements are there. So these 28 inner transition elements, they are divided. They are present in two series of elements. They are arranged in two series. So one series of elements are said to be 4F series. 4F series. They are called as lanthanides, or they are also called as rare earth elements. Lanthanides or rare earth elements. Okay. They starts. The starting element of 4F series is cerium, whose atomic number is 58. To lutetium, whose atomic number is 71. So here 14 elements are present. 14 elements are present in 4F series. Okay, right. From cerium to lutetium. And other series. So this is one series, and another 14 elements. They form 5F series. Okay, they form 5F series. So they are called as actinides. Okay, they are called as actinides. So 5F series are also actinides. They contain the starting element of actinides is thorium. Thorium is a starting element, so whose atomic number is 90, and thorium 2 lawrencium, whose atomic number is 103. So altogether there are 14 elements present in the second series of inner transition elements. See where these inner transition elements are located. So the inner transitional elements are located at the bottom of the periodic table, at the down of the periodic table. So one series of elements, 14 elements, and another series of elements, again 14 elements. So the first series of elements, they are called as lanthanides. Okay, here the other series of 14 elements, they are called as actinides. Okay, so like this, the inner transition elements are present. See, lanthanides they are called as rare earths, and actinides are these actinides. Okay, they are mostly synthetic. They are called synthetic elements. Because most of them are prepared artificially. So that means 5D series elements or else actinides. Most of the elements are prepared artificially. Hence they are called as synthetic elements. Okay. Right. And one more point. So transuranic elements are present in the transitional inner transition elements only. So transuranic elements. What are transuranic elements? Already we have seen transuranic elements. Okay. Elements after atomic number is equal to 93. That means after uranium. Okay, all elements that come after after uranium are said to be transuranic elements. Okay, so like this. So these are some of the points related to inner transitional elements. Okay, so like this. So this is all about Bohr's classification. So Bohr's classification, according to Bohr classification, so all the elements are classified into four classes: inert gases, representative elements, transitional elements, and inert transitional elements. Okay, right. So with this, Bohr's classification is finished. So in the next video, we will learn about the differentiating electron. I mean classification based on differentiating electron. Okay.